Yeah, hi, welcome back to the channel. Neil Donaldson's Lotus XL Restoration. Yeah, I've been on my holidays. I went and had another trip down to Malta. Obviously, where parents and family are. Had an amazing time. Been back a couple of days now. Regarding to the Lotus, the plan was to get along and finish the door cards. I've made some progress on that, but I'm not going to make this video about the door cards themselves yet. There's another couple of jobs I found I needed doing on the car. One of the main job was the the front seal of the differential had started to leak. Well, it's been leaking for a while, but I'm noticing oil and stuff on the floor. So I thought it's a job I'd better get done sooner rather than later. Also, the CV joint boots, which I replaced a couple of years ago, or a year ago or so, I can't remember exactly when it was. They've started spewing oil, spewing grease as well. So I bought some new ones, some universal ones offline, and I'll replace those as well to stop them from having grease all over the place. And that'll probably obviously be an MOT failure as well, which is not due until next April. But yeah, so I'll get those jobs done first. And another job also I wanted to do was related to the key on the lock, the key in the lock and the driver's door. It's basically sometimes when you push the key in, the lock actually falls in a little bit, which is a bit annoying, and there's obviously security risk a little bit if you take the car for a long run somewhere. So let me get on with those particular jobs and see where we get to before I finish the door cards. But I've had a few new subscribers, so welcome on board to anybody who's a new subscriber, and thanks for taking interest and thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the video, and there's no time like the present, so let's get on with it. So let's have a look what we've got then in terms of a leaky diff. Okay, so this is interesting. It's that one of the drive shafts has dislodged itself. It's come out. That's not seated properly. The other side is okay. That's seated properly. I'm also seeing at the front of the diff this is what I thought was the major problem. Is it's leaking slightly from the front, well, a bit more than slightly, as you can see on the exhaust pipe here. So I'm definitely going to have to drop the front end of the diff there. So what's going to have to happen is the exhaust pipes are going to have to come out again. Fine. This bit's going to have to come out again. But I think I'll deal with the CV joints bit first, being as though both of them are split. I'll take them off first, I think, so that's going to mean a slightly different approach. So I'm going to take the wheel off and then the joint. Alright, plan of action. So I've removed the front of the gearbox, the differential, sorry, and yeah, I don't know if you can see anything there. Let me just put this camera a bit more. Yeah, so as you can see, I need to remove that nut now. That's why I'm leaving the differential in place, because I think it's going to be extremely awkward to get that off without the gearbox being, without the differential being in place and secured with the handbrake. I don't know if this is going to work. If it doesn't, I guess I'm in a bit of a shit. But yeah, let's try it anyway. Great big nut. So I had to remove this nut and washer in with the differential still in the car. The front end of it dropped a bit. Yeah, it takes a hell of a force, obviously, to get that out. You've got to have the best scenario is actually to have somebody standing on the brakes with the car, obviously, on ramps like that, and handbrake on and everything. And it takes some force to get it out, but eventually with a crowbar I managed to loosen it. and get it out. 8 turns there, and obviously it's going to go in with that bit lining up with the crush bit there. You can see it's been pushed in. I had to force that out, I couldn't even get a hammer and chisel to release it. But anyway, it's out. Took the differential out. I think I probably could have done with it in situ, but I think with the puller and everything that I need to do to get this flange off, it was better that I took it out. But yeah, we're almost at the point of no return, so I'm going to try and remove that flange with a puller. Actually, I didn't need the puller at all. I've literally haven't even put a spanner on there, and I can remove it, the flange. It's literally coming off that easily. So there we go. Wow, that looks like one knackered oil seal. I don't know if you can see that. That I would suggest has never been replaced, and it's leaking all over the place, so I'm glad I've done this job. Anyway, I'll go and get the ones I've bought and see if they will fit. Yeah, so here's the new flange, and it fits the outer diameter there absolutely perfectly. And on the flange as well, absolutely millimetre perfect. So thanks Paul Compton, you sent me exactly the right measurements for that. And now the question is getting that out without damaging the splines. So I've just sanded down a little bit the inside of the rim here with very fine grit sandpaper. I'm talking 1200 grit. I've already done most of it. I'm also going to sand here, this bit down here, ever so lightly. Important that you get an absolutely perfect seal here, otherwise you're doing this again. Make sure there's nothing at all on that lip. Any rust or pitting needs to come off. It's not bad. Okay, once that's done, I'm going to apply a little bit of grease around the lip here. Again, brake fluid, grease, anything like that's generally okay. I've always preferred grease to brake fluid, to diff fluid. Yeah, I just find it works better. And also on the inside of the seal, I'll apply some there as well, where the seal goes on the flange. I'll go and get the seal, which is in the freezer. It's been in the freezer all night. And the washer. Don't know if there's any particular way that goes around, I don't think so. And the nut. But I'm not going to be able to tighten this up, this nut, until it's back in the car and torqued down. So I'm going to leave that as it is and reinstall the diff. Dizzy, I think some people call it. But, yeah, so that's what I'm going to do now. Is remount the diff as is. So I basically need to connect the drive shafts up before I torque that down. Otherwise I'm not going to be able to get enough force on there. Anyway, you get the general idea. I don't think I'm going to film all of this, but the general idea is obviously to lift it into position and bolt it in. But, yeah. But I'm going to have to get under there and support it. I'll stop filming, but you get the general idea. Just take your time with it, lift it up, put it in place. So I managed to get both side bolts in here now. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. I need to put a nut on the end. And then when I've done that, the idea is to put these drive shafts, these half shafts on, so I can get enough torque on this bolt to do it up to, I think it's 90 pound-foot of force
So I'll go and read up about how much Newton meters that is, but you get the idea anyway. So I'll bolt these two drive shafts on now and get that done. So now that everything's in place, drive shafts, I'm going to torque up that bolt. Now I think it needs to go 8 turns, and let's see where it is first. So let me get it in place before I torque it up properly. I'm almost there. I'm about half a turn to go, and I'm not going to over torque this by more than about I think it's 90 foot-pounds of torque, which translates to about 120 Newton meters. So I'll do that with the torque wrench now, and I won't go over that, and then hopefully be able to this stake bit will go around to there, and it'll I'll be able to stake it back in. Yeah, so that's it in place. Not quite 122 foot-pounds, but that I would say about 105, something like that. So sorry, Newton meters. Sort of screwed everything back together and taking it for a run, and I'm seeing that it's absolutely bone dry at the front there of the pinion. Yeah, there's not even the slightest hint of oil coming out, and even the drive shafts are pretty dry as well. There's a little bit of residue from before when when it was leaking obviously before, but I cleaned that up and it doesn't seem to be leaking at all now. So I'm pretty pleased with that. I've also reseated the clip on the drive shaft boot there, which was spitting a bit of grease. So I'm going to take that for a run now and see if that has cured that problem as well, so we don't get grease sort of splattered all over the place at the back there. But let's see, I'll take it for a run now. Yeah, another thing I want to have a look at is an XL lock, because I'm having trouble with this. Essentially it's broken here, and what happens is, just let me get the key, is you kind of put the key in there and you sort of press it in, and the lock sort of falls in on itself, and it's a bit worrying. It's broken here, so that bit there, as you can see, is broken, and it's the plastic bit sort of that holds that knurled lock in there, well, bit of the lock in there that's broken. So I'm going to try and figure out a way of strengthening this. I think Angus has got these sealed, but before I actually throw it away, I'm going to try and do something and see if I can strengthen that. But, yeah, there's also a pin which I'm not using at the moment, which kind of fits through there and comes out of there, which I could potentially use to hold that in position. And not only that, but I can use this nut as well, perhaps to hold that in place. So I'll have a look what I can do here. So I've rather crudely crafted this piece of metal here. Basically, it's I've drilled 2 holes. I think they were 24 millimeters apart, the 2 holes, and then I obviously put that bend in there, and that's sort of going to fit into the door lock like this. I'll just screw that together and show you what I mean. Put both bolts in and the locking mechanism. Yeah, and that sort of goes in through there. Obviously you need to put it in the car first, but just show you how it works. Fit in there. Yeah, and it sort of secures the locking mechanism now in place there. And I'm pretty sure that is not going to come out very easily. But let me just get the keys and I'll just check it again. Yeah, I can press really hard now on the key, and it's, yeah, that's as secure as it's going to be. But obviously I'll check it on the car again. But I'm pretty pleased with that. It seems to have done the trick. It's a lot sturdier than it was before, and obviously the barrel of the lock doesn't sort of go into the door. Now it's the job done. Pretty pleased. Yeah, as you can see, the lock there is a lot better, a lot more secure. The key, the lock barrel is not going to fall into the car now. So, pretty pleased with that. Got a result.
So I'll wrap the video up here and now. As I said, the next jobs to focus on are going to be the door cards, I hope. And once again, thanks for taking an interest in the channel, guys, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye.